Jared Kushner has announced this plan, and we are going to go through this map and show you what this actually means. What is Gaza going to turn itself into? And I think people may be shocked when we go through some of the details. So here is Jared Kushner sharing the master plan for the new Gaza. I want you to hear what he says here.
Really, because of his heart, he wants to do this. And we've developed ways to redevelop Gaza. Gaza, as President Trump's been saying, has amazing potential. And this is for the people of Gaza. We've developed it into zones. In the beginning, we were toying with the idea of saying, let's build a free zone, and then we have a Hamas zone. And then we said, you know what, let's just plan for catastrophic success. Hamas signed a deal to demilitarize. That is what we are going to enforce. People ask us what our plan B is. We do not have a plan B. We have a plan. We signed an agreement. We are all committed to making that agreement work. There's a
right there. We do not have a plan B. So everybody heard that. What that means is that this is going to happen indefinitely. There is no, well, what if this doesn't work? He said, we do not have a plan B. This is what it is going to be.
Master plan. We'll be doing it in phasing. In the Middle East, they build cities like this in 2-3 million people. They build this in 3 years. And so stuff like this is very doable if we make it happen. Rafa will start with, this will show a lot of workforce housing. We think this could be done in 2-3 years. We've already started removing the rubble and doing some of the demolition. And
stop. Go back to what he said right here. Pay attention to his vocabulary, because this is just going to be more apartheid. Listen.
If we make it happen. Rafa will start with, this will show a lot of workforce housing.
Workforce housing. 100K plus permanent housing units, education centers, cultural, religious, and vocational centers, medical facilities. So let's stop here for just a second. I wonder what those cultural, religious centers will be, right? He said workforce housing, which means that Gaza, this plan that they have for Gaza, is going to be separated from the workers, or what they consider to be the workers, and the rich people who come to party in Gaza and have the resorts. Just even more apartheid. Gaza isn't a college campus. It's not like you can say these are the dorms and the houses are over here. The students live in the dorms and the faculty live. He said workforce housing. There's more.
We think this could be done in 2-3 years. We've already started removing the rubble and doing some of the demolition. And then New Gaza. It could be a hope, it could be a destination, have a lot of industry, and really be a place that the people there can thrive, have great employment. Once this starts going, we think there should be 100% full employment and opportunity for everybody there. And we have a lot of data on what can be, but we think that this really gives the Gazan people an opportunity to live their aspirations. But it all starts with security, and it all starts with governance. Final note I'll just say on the Board of Peace, which is that...
Pause. Empowering Gazans with jobs, training, and services. Everybody see this plan here? What jobs do you think the Palestinians are going to have? They're most likely going to have the blue collar jobs, right? Yeah. So I have seen these types of plans before, right here in the US. This is gentrification on steroids. It's always announced this way. We're going to create all these jobs. We're going to create new housing. Everything's going to be a lot better for you guys. But then ultimately, when you create this new housing and all these jobs, you got to remember, Gazans aren't working right now. Like, Palestinians aren't working. They're trying to stay alive. The Palestinian kids haven't been in school. We're talking about over 2 years. They haven't been working. They haven't been in school. So this is why I say, what kind of jobs do you think they're going to give them? So they're only going to let them go so far. Let's go on more here. It is gentrification on steroids. Many of us have experienced this before. And then there's the other thing. Again, what do you mean workforce housing? To me, that kind of sounds like the projects. You guys are going to live over here, and all of us are going to live over here. It's a project. It's an experiment.
All the lessons we're doing is we're basically studying the best practices from all over the world, and we're watching who does education the best, who does healthcare delivery the best. All of these things it's not secret IP. All this is IP that the Board of Peace is going to make public, and we want to encourage all the countries to be able to follow these best practices. A lot of the things that President Trump is doing in America, if they're working, we should all be copying them. If we find what's working in other countries, we should be copying them too. And so what the Board of Peace will have the ability to do if we're successful with Gaza is really show how do you do peace implementation, which is something that when we got this deal done, we didn't really find too much expertise or know-how on how to do it. So as we're creating this system, hopefully it's something that we can just document these learnings and make them available to all else who want to use them in the future.
So he's letting you know that they don't even know what they're doing. We don't really know what we're doing. We just created this and we're just kind of going to see how it works. And imagine calling it the Board of Peace after you have enabled Israel to kill all these people. It's laughable at this point.
So demilitarization, this is something we're starting now that we have a new government in Gaza. This government will be working with Hamas on the demilitarization to really take the principles that were agreed to in the document to the next phase. And hopefully that will be successful. Without that, we can't rebuild. So if Hamas does not demilitarize, that will be what holds back Gaza and the people of Gaza from achieving their aspiration. And that's very important. So the next 100 days, we're going to continue to just be heads down and focused on making sure this is implemented. We continue to be focused on humanitarian aid, humanitarian shelter, but then creating the conditions to move forward.
No, they're not focused on humanitarian aid right now. And also, again, this Gaza Peace Board, ultimately, the humanitarian aid is not getting in is because Israel is not allowing it to come in. You shouldn't even need to create any type of board to bring in humanitarian aid. You guys should hold Israel accountable for stopping food and water from getting in. And this even makes you wonder how many people are going to live to see this anyway. Because I just saw a recent video from another doctor from Australia who was there, who said a lot of people in Gaza right now are dying from disease, not just from the bombing, but from the disease because the water is dirty, although they didn't give them fully clean water before to begin with, but because of all the bombing, rodents, feces, like everything, like these are things that cause disease. So you have people dying from that. And it's just how many people, this is what I'm trying to tell you guys, think about this. How many of them are going to live to even see this next 100-day focus?
To move forward. So thank you. Final point I'll just make is this is really only possible because of the work of so many people and President Trump's great leadership. But a lot of you have been asking, how can we help? So the countries have all been incredibly generous. We'll be doing the first conference where we'll announce a lot of the contributions that will be made in a couple weeks in Washington. From the private sector, there'll be amazing investment opportunities. I know it's a little risky to be investing in a place like this, but we need you to come, take faith, invest in the people, try to be a part of it. And then finally, I'll just talk to people on the media and on the social media, which is
all the investors. So that's what this is. That's what this is. And people don't invest in something without getting a return on their investment. So when we look at the map a little bit deeper, I'm going to show you what they're really creating.
This deal only happened because we worked with Israel, we worked with Turkey, we worked with Qatar, we worked with Saudi, we worked with Egypt. I mean, everyone worked together. We worked with UAE. We all worked together to make this happen. I see a lot of people trying to escalate, criticizing Israel or Israelis criticizing Turkey or Qatar. Just calm down for 30 days. I think that the war is over. Let's do our best to try working together. Our goal here is peace between Israel and the Palestinian people. Everyone wants to live peacefully. Everyone wants to live with dignity. Let's put our efforts towards promoting those who are doing the work to build this up, like Ali and his committee. Let's focus on the positive stories and let's just calm down, turn a new chapter. And if we believe that peace is possible, then peace really can be possible.
So first of all, Jared Kushner, the war is not over. People are still being killed in Gaza. Palestinians are still being killed. I see the reports every day. So the war is not over. So that's a lie, number one. Number two, who is Jared Kushner and Donald Trump a part of this as well? Who the hell do they think they are to just come in and take over someone else's land and say, this is what you are going to have? It's colonialism. Like here we go again. And it's like the Palestinian people have no say so. Now, let me show you something else. Let's look at this map a little bit deeper. Let's bring this up here. So this essentially is what this is going to be, right? So let's start with the coastal tourism area right here. This lighter shade of purple, like a purplish pink here. It says coastal tourism, 180 towers, mixed use. So this is where all the rich people are going to live, right here along the coast. Right there on the water. That's where they're going to have all these resorts, etc. The Trump casinos or whatever it is that you want there. They're going to be right by the water. And you know what that means? That means that the Palestinian people will not be allowed to go to the coast. The beach, that's going to be for them, for the rich people. When we look at the dark green here, industrial complex, data centers, advanced manufacturing. So that's this area right here, right here, right here, right here, and right along here. First problem, the yellow says residential areas. That's basically the workforce. Remember that they said the worker housing is what they call it. I call it the projects. Let me ask you a question. Why are they trying to put industrial complex centers right next to residential housing? It also says that these centers are data centers. So what did I tell you again? They have this plan to expand data centers all over the world, not just here in the United States. So the billionaires, Bill Ackman and Donald Trump and all of them and Jared Kushner, they're going to put data centers in Gaza. And you know they want to put them in Greenland as well, as we just recently talked about as well. And they're putting it right next to residential housing, or as they called it, the worker housing. The other part about this map that's pretty troublesome here, right? This darker shade of purple, it says highways and local transportation, right? Main road loop, city ring road loop, highways and major transportation. Again, that's along the coast. So you can see that there. And then when we look at regional transport and logistics, the blue here, the light blue is the port. And the dark blue here, this is train and backport logistics. And right here, which is orange, is the Rafa crossing. And then you have the airport right here in the little gray part here. They are blocking them in. They can't go to the coastal area because that's where all the rich people are going to be. In fact, this guy laid it out pretty well. Let me show you this part here. Number 11, cities are separated by agricultural land with no natural horizontal expansion. Thus, cities do not form a unified land, but independent cells that can be easily cut off. So if you look at the map again here, all the green, that is parks, agriculture, and sport facilities. So if you know the yellow patches here are the residential areas, they're separating the people by land. So again, to that gentleman's point, they're creating independent cells. So like your community is basically going to be whoever lives with you right here in this area. And then you got all this in the way if you want to go to people in this area, right? To me, when I first saw this, it almost seems like the smart cities, like the 15-minute cities that they're trying to create here in the United States as well. All these data centers and all of that, they're going to be monitoring their every activity. Ideally, that's what this is going to be. Another part that he said here that I wanted to talk about. Yeah, the pink, which is the light purple, is the rich. That's along the coast, typical to what you'll see here in the United States as well. Yellow, the workforce. White normalizing Israeli occupation, no border with Egypt, all through Israel. The Rafa crossing has disappeared. I'm going to get to that in just a second. Shifting the balance from Gaza City to Khan Yunis and Rafa, despite being less populated than Gaza City. Gaza City has over 600,000. Khan Yunis has 203,000. Rafa over 172,000. Border industrial hubs mean relying on the Israeli supply chain, electricity. It can be cut off whenever Israel wants, just as it is now. So that is what this is, ladies and gentlemen. They are going to be confined to these yellow areas, which I'm just going to call them the projects, because that's essentially what this looks like. And all the rich people will be right over here on the coast, lining up right next to the water. Now, when we go to this part here, I told you about the about Rafa. This was announced by Reuters today. The IDF is refuting this, but it said that Israel orders Gaza families to move in first forced evacuation since the ceasefire. So this came out on the 21st. So they are saying they are being evacuated. Israeli forces ordered dozens of Palestinian families in the southern Gaza Strip to leave their homes in the first forced evacuation since October's ceasefire. As residents and Hamas said on Tuesday, the military was expanding the area it controls. Everybody see this here? Residents of Bani Sahala, east of Khan Yunis, said the leaflets were dropped on Monday on families living in tent encampments in the Al Rekab neighborhood. So, urgent message: this area is under IDF control. You must evacuate immediately, said the leaflets written in Arabic, Hebrew, and English. Israel's military denied having plans to forcefully displace Palestinians from the area. It confirmed the leaflet drops, but said they were aimed at warning Palestinians not to cross the armistice line in with Hamas. Now, here's another question that I have for you, going back to this map. So again, Palestinians haven't been able to work for like over 2 years. The kids haven't been in school for like over 2 years. So when Jared Kushner says we're going to give them jobs and these are going to be the residential areas, well, they still have to pay rent. What is going to be the price of the housing that they are going to create? And what happens if you can't find a job or you can't afford it? And the reason why I'm asking this question is because, again, it happens here. It happens here in the US. We're building all these things, but you'll be able to do all of this. Now, if you look at this Board of Peace, I think this was a great breakdown. Trump's New World Order Board of Peace. It says that Gaza is the test case for a post-UN world order. The proposed Gaza Board of Peace is not an isolated initiative. It is best understood as part of the broader strategic project. Donald Trump does not seek to reform the UN. He seeks to replace it. The UN system is built on law, formal equality between the states, and institutional accountability. Trump's alternative model is built on deals, money, hierarchy, carceral leverage, and when the UN relies on treaties and norms, this model relies on capital contributions, political loyalty, and centralized control. Gaza is the test. The proposed architecture strips away UN law and substitutes a technocratic management. UNRWA is dismantled. Refugee status and rights are replaced with conditional aid. UN peacekeeping is rejected in favor of a US-led international stabilization force. The legal framing of occupation is removed entirely. Under this model, there is no occupation law, no right of return, no independent investigations, no binding human rights enforcement. What remains is a system run by appointed technocrats, major donors, and a security force designed to impose stability rather than rights. This is not peacekeeping. It is managed control. Empire rebranded as stability. And I want to show you the sign, the logo. The logo here for the Board of Peace looks strikingly similar to the logo that the United Nations has. And this is where we're at now, ladies and gentlemen. So I see people applauding this, and it's not what you think it is. Anytime wealthy people come in and they take over the plans of the neighborhood and they say, we are creating this, ultimately a few things will happen. Either, you're priced out, so you got to leave, which brings up the next question I'm coming to, or you stay there and try to make ends meet and struggle to keep, your feet planted anyway. I just don't know how this is going to work for the Palestinian people, considering the fact that, like I said, people haven't been working for 2 years. And then here's another point. It's really not on them to decide what should happen to Gaza. So you essentially have world leaders, because Tony Blair is also on this board, a guy who also greenlit the Iraq War, another war criminal. You have leaders, political leaders from all over the world coming in and determining what is going to happen with this piece of land. And the Palestinian people have no say whatsoever. This is wrong. There's no peace of this. This is not peace. This is a takeover. And this part right here that I also wanted to show you, people need to pay attention to this. It was just announced that the Rafa crossing to open in both directions next week. You see, they're already getting ready. So this is what I was trying to tell you. Let me make this a little bit bigger here. The Rafa border crossing between Egypt and the Gaza Strip will reopen in both directions next week. That is coming from the newly appointed minister of the Palestinian territory. The reopening of the crossing is part of the Gaza truce plan announced by Trump in October, but it has remained closed so far. I am pleased to announce the Rafa crossing will open next week in both directions. That's coming from Ali Shah, the former Palestinian Authority deputy minister. This was said at the World Economic Forum. And I believe we have a map here. Maybe not. Maybe we have a map here. Maybe I lost the map. I'm sorry. I was going to show you where that map was. I can go back to the other one and show you where it's at. So basically here, this is the Rafa crossing, this orange piece right here. So this is wild. No one should support this. And now some people are wondering, where does Russia and China and other countries stand on this board of peace? So Vladimir Putin issued a statement recently. Russia will not join any so-called peace council unless the full rights of the Palestinian people are guaranteed in accordance with UN resolutions. I do not have a translation here, guys, but this is him saying it here.
На Ближнем Востоке и о поиске возможных путей решения насущных проблем палестинского народа и разрешения острейших проблем гуманитарной ситуации в секторе Газа. В этой связи отмечу главное.
Yeah, you guys get the point. I'm sorry. There's no translation. But essentially, they're just going to take control of everything. And I do agree with that article that this board of peace is basically going to be set up to be a replacement of the United Nations. I could see that happening. So when I say all the small things, it's important that we look at the details. Jared Kushner stands up and gives this presentation, and he flashes this map on the screen rather quickly, but he doesn't go into the details of what those different areas mean, right? And so I think it's important that we look at all those things, because sometimes the smallest things actually do matter and make a big difference. And my biggest concern is that, again, this is being advertised as this peaceful resolution, as something that's given the Palestinian people some type of self-determination, when in reality it's not. They're still going to be occupied but they are making a design in such a way and creating a board of peace in such a way so that you can't use the term occupied anymore, when in reality, that's still what this is. And they'll just say, look, we created all this housing for them. We created jobs for them. What are you talking about? So we can't fall for the okey doke. And Gaza will still be very much controlled. And I honestly wonder how many Palestinians will live through the next 100 days to even see this so-called humanitarian aid that's supposed to be coming in, that should have been coming in all along. It's absolutely disgusting when you think about it. This is billionaire money and power that is making this happen. It's disgusting. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.